let's do a little division series preview. We got through the first ever wild card weekend, and it was fun. I think we wanted one or two more do or die games would have been fantastic. It didn't happen. So we were left with the Mets and watching them die a slow, painful death. Ugh, that was tough. That was tough. But it sets up the MLB divisional series, and it looks fun. I mean, on the American League side, we have the Astros and the Mariners, and the Guardians and the Yankees, and the NL, Dodgers, Padres, Phillies, Braves. Let's start out in the American League. Astros, Mariners. I was dreading this coming into the playoffs. And I'll tell you why. The Astros dominated the Mariners, and they have. This season, I think it was 14-5 or 15-4. Like they dominated the Mariners. The Mariners have been dominated by them for more than this season, right? Like the Astros have been a powerhouse since 2016. The Mariners had the longest playoff drought in baseball that just finished. So they're the new Mariners, right? They're the kids, but that's where this year is so important, and they still got dominated by the Astros. I'm excited for this series. I could be totally wrong. I picked the Astros. I'm still picking the Astros. I love what the Mariners have going on right now. Winning those 2 games in Toronto, not going to Game 3. Technically, you saved Logan Gilbert, who, in a way, maybe not a true one in a playoff series, especially when you're going to probably see Verlander on the other side. He's not a true one, but he's a young pitcher who's really good and can give you 5, 6, 7 inning start. Maybe not 7. Maybe. It's playoff baseball. Look what's been going on with the pitching. The pitching is dominated early on, as you'd expect in the playoffs. I think this Mariners team, and we saw it a little bit on Saturday, and I officially am naming Wild Card Saturday House Money Day, because if you win that first game, you get to play with house money. And when you go down 8-1 to Toronto, in what was supposed to be the most evenly matched series, you get to play with house money and take some good at-bats and put together some big swings and mess around and see what happens. And when you're a playoff team, that if you go down 7, you're not scared by that. That matters. Because when you go down 3 and you're a team like Tampa or the Guardians, who didn't hit at all, that 3 feels like 10 runs. Seattle, who's not a powerhouse hitting team, I mean, they've got solid bats up and down the lineup. Julio's their stud. He didn't really participate in Game 2. Got hit by a pitch earlier in the series. I think the Mariners are going to be pesky, and more so, I'm excited for what this means for the Mariners and for the Blue Jays. I did that rant on Talking Baseball. I think the Mariners are going to give them hell. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's 6 games and, the Mariners have 2 nice wins and they're battling in the other games. I think the Mariners are going to give them hell. I really like their bullpen. They have a top 3 of their rotation that's a lot of fun with Castillo, and Robbie Ray's been getting hit around a little bit. That's what's stopping me from going to the next level. I think if Robbie Ray was pitching well, and I was like, damn, like Castillo, Ray, and Gilbert are going to give you games this series, there's still too much in the air, and guess what's going to happen on the Houston side? I think Altuve's not going to hit a back-breaking homer. I think Kyle Tucker's not going to get involved. I think Yordan Alvarez isn't the best young hitter in baseball. Like, Houston's still going to Houston. Their pitching's going to be really good. And I think they're going to win this series handily. I would lean, it's not a 7-game series. It's a 5-game series. I would lean, how about I'll go 5 games, which I didn't think was even a possibility. I think this Mariners team has the juice right now. Like that clinching their first ever playoff thing and that celebration and the good people of Seattle going nuts. They weren't promised a home playoff game and they played themselves into one. That place is going to go bananas. Altuve home run. Altuve leadoff home run. Can you bet that at DraftKings? Speaking of DraftKings, you can bet that. You can also go check out any of their NFL action. New customers, you can bet $5 on any NFL team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. They have their same-game parlays that are a ton of fun. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code JOHNBOY to get $200 in free bets if your team wins when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code JOHNBOY, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Astros at 5. I think they actually get pushed, which I did not. Coming into this playoffs, if you told me the Mariners advanced, I would have been closer to betting sweep. But watching that big comeback, knowing that they're going to get a road playoff game, at least one. Man, if they can get 2, which you either got to steal one in Houston or win that third game, I think they're going to. I mean, right now, I think Luis Castillo, he'd be the game 2 starter. I guess it depends what they do. A lot of these teams haven't announced stuff yet because that's just baseball in 2022, which is kind of a problem.
I think the Mariners have said Castillo
for game 2. I mean, part of me would very much love him in game 3 at home. That feels like a win. But I think he's lined up for game 2, so whatever. I won't complain about that. Yankees, Guardians. If you want to hear a lot about that, go check out Talking Yanks. And if you want deeper dives, me and Plouffe and BBD are doing that in a little bit on Talking Baseball. This is just, from the moon looking at this. The kids, the Guardians, they come into this. They survived Tampa. They beat Tampa, but it wasn't a good Tampa team. This series, I will say, has big potential for the flip the script element I've been talking about. Garrett Cole versus either a short rest Shane Bieber, which has never happened before, so I don't think that's going to happen, or a Guardians third or fourth starter between Savali and Plesac. Have they announced?
I think they said Quantrill's game
Quantrill,
1.
excuse me. Quantrill had a nice year. He's not a big strikeout guy. I mean, I think this is his first playoff game, so
Off day right after, you could see him flip into that pen pretty early.
Yeah, versus Garrett Cole, who was paid $300 million to pitch in games like this. And Cal Quantrill, he pitched in the 2020 wildcard game against the Yankees for 0.1 innings and gave up a walk. I think it was the last out of the game, like a sad out. Anyways, I think it's a short series. Anything can happen in baseball. Look at the 3 gamers that just happened. The Yankees are the better team. Something about the vibe on the streets. Call this New York bullshit. This Yankees team put us through the gambit this year. August was one of the worst months and worst baseball we've seen a Yankees team play. They are more talented than this Guardians roster. That's not how baseball always works. I love the Yankees starting pitching. I think they have more talent. Judge is Judge. He's got the biggest fear factor a player has probably ever had going into a playoff series. It looked like Stanton has been corrected. You're going to believe in Rizzo in October. The Guardians have Jose Ramirez. They have a lot of young, talented guys. Oscar Gonzalez with the walk-off. He's going to be feeling pretty good. Steven Kwan. One of those guys is going to go off. Jimenez. I'm sure of it. That's how baseball works. And Jose Ramirez is, as big of a threat as someone not named Judge currently going into the playoffs. You can't pitch to that guy. He would.
They have
Altuve, Judge, Jose Ramirez. Yeah.
Ramirez is one of the very, very best players, and they have a ton of dudes who I think are going to just be pests to have to pitch to.
Something will click for them, and you'll have to deal with that. I don't think the Yankees are going to sweep. I think they're going to have a chance, and that would get people nuts. I think the Guardians are going to win game 2 or 3. This whole thing could be flipped on his head instantly because, like I said, if they steal game 1, which Cole has been giving up the gopher ball, and home runs win in playoff games, we've seen all the stats now, and that's everyone's new baseball pickup line. If they steal game 1 and Yankees have to sit on that because there's an off day after, That is going to be brutal. Brutal. So,
for all these higher seeds that had the bye through the wild card, it's like you have to win game one, or else with the way the off days went, like you've lost your.
You've lost everything. You've lost everything because now those teams have their 1 and 2 coming back.
And they already took a home game from you.
So, yeah, I mean, game one at the stadium, it's going to be rowdy. We're going to have it covered. We're streaming with Chris Rose. You know, Joe's will be at the stadium. It's going to be a good time. Excited to see how all that goes. Yankees are a better team. Cleveland, I'm not going to give Bolton board. I don't care, actually. The Yankees are a better team.
Baseball.
They won a lot of games. They could have won a lot more. Let's see what goes on with Matt Carpenter. Let's go. Yeah, funny business. National League. The biggest surprise, I don't know if that's phrasing it right. How about the Phillies? How about the Phillies being in this thing, playing strong defense? Phillies had become kind of a joke on that level. They will kick off the games on Tuesday. Phillies at Braves. You know that Braves Stadium is going to be raucous. Good for them. They've got a serious shot to repeat. They just locked up Spencer Strider before the series. Why not? You know, we were wondering if he was going to participate because he's been hurt. I don't know what it means. I have no idea. But that's fun that they just operate this way. And by the way, root for Atlanta, because the next time your team is building up a young core, you hope this happens. You should want this to work for Atlanta, because when your team calls up 6 guys that are studs, you want them to re-sign them. Make sense?
Yeah. Teams look to the teams that are doing well as the example.
Sports are about copycat. Hopefully this works for Atlanta. Hopefully the Phils give them hell. The Phillies, we've said it for 2 years now. It seems like they are built for the playoffs. They have dudes in the lineup. Schwarber, Hoskins, Harper, Realmuto, Bohm. I think he gets included. Castellanos. Even Mean Gene Segura towards the bottom of the lineup. That's a guy you don't like seeing at the plate.
Pest.
In a playoff series. He is a pest. And then Wheeler, Nola, and Ranger Suarez, who they didn't use because they won in 2 games in St. Louis. Talk about that flip that I keep talking about. If they steal game 1 from Atlanta, and now you got Nola, Wheeler lined up, I mean, you could be looking at 2-1 Phillies lead.
On the Atlanta side, Max Fried has game 1.
Yeah,
like that.
Some good lefty action there.
Lefty. First one of those is postseason. Like
the Braves, I said it on last night's live stream. They don't have a weakness. Here's their lineup: Acuna, Swanson, Michael Harris, Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Darno, Ozuna, Rosario. Orlando Arcia is filling in for what would be Ozzie Albies, who's normally a goddamn stud. Vaughn Grissom and William Contreras not mentioned in that. Neither Robbie Grossman, trade deadline piece. Here's their rotation: Max Fried, Kyle Wright, Charlie Morton. If you need them, you got Odorizzi and Bryce Elder flirting around. But guess what? They don't need them. In the bullpen, Kenley, Reisel, Minter, McHugh, Matzik, Dylan Lee, Jesse Chavez. We love him for the Braves. Their bullpen is better than Phillies. Phillies rotation, they have an argument. Nolan Wheeler at the top, sure. Let's even give them that. Offense and defense, it's Atlanta too. And that's the thing you'll find out when you compare the Braves to a lot of other teams. They almost always have the advantage. It seems like it's lining up Braves-Dodgers. It seems like it's lining up Houston and the Yankees. Sometimes sports does work that way. Other times it does not. I'm taking the Braves. I'm hoping the Phillies have a little devil magic right now. They stole one from the jaws of defeat from St. Louis that they kind of had no business winning. They're going to feel like they're in every game. Their defense held up that first series. Keep making the plays. Keep pitching. I might take them in game 1. No, I love Max Fried. Brave sweep. I don't think I believe in that. I don't think I don't know, man. I don't know. These divisional games are throwing me off a little bit.
Yeah.
You play a team 19 times. You know their relievers. You know their starters. You know how to pitch to their big guys in the lineup. That's where dude factor comes in, and I know that sounds a little lame, me saying dude factor. That doesn't do it for me. But the Bryce Harpers, the guys that, guess what? You can know everything about them, and it doesn't matter. Aaron Nola and Wheeler, the way they're pitching. But the Braves have the same dudes. Austin Riley deserves to be talked about as a dude. Matt Olson got crazy hot coming in the playoffs. He's not going to be scared. Let's see what Michael Harris 2 is about in the playoffs. Money Mike. And none of these Braves pitchers are going to be freaked out. They just won a World Series. Interested to see if there's a little, what I was just saying with the Rams. Are they going to lose a game at home? Could they go down in this series 1-2 to Philly? I don't think so. I think the Braves are really, really good. I say I don't think so. It's baseball. That's the beauty of it. John Sterling. Jay Sterling calls. Listen to it or don't. It might freak you out if you have no idea what you're getting into. The last series, Dodgers, Padres, again, divisional, East Coast and West Coast. We just saw the Padres. We just saw what they did to the Mets. They have a winning formula. They may be the team. Do they get the most screwed by the wild card? Because they're back-to-back games 1 and 2.
Yeah. Yeah, the NL has a more traditional. Yeah, the NLs get hurt more by having their wild.
They have to go east to west. Their strength is their 3 starting pitchers, and they used all 3.
Yeah, they went the distance.
They play tomorrow night, which means can you use Darvish? Is he lined up?
It looks like
Saturday,
it's very
Sunday,
expected.
Monday.
It's going to be Clevenger.
Yeah, I guess it would be Clevenger, and then you go Darvish, Snell, Musgrove. Clevenger, game 1 and 5. We'll see how important that is. They're a team. Steal one at home, and then you have Darvish, Snell, and Musgrove lined up. They're playing the Dodgers, who were the best team in baseball this year. Talk about big brother, little brother. This is what I was mentioning out west, Astros and Mariners before. I still very much believe in the big brothers. I think the big brothers are the bigger team, better teams. And I think when you have a big brother, little brother situation, the little brother has to be more talented and then still prove it against the big brother. Like that's normally the situation. I do love for the Padres, Josh Bell, who had been kind of tough for them. He had a very nice couple games with against the Mets. Trent Grisham, playoff baseball changes instantly. Those guys are currently big-time threats, and they weren't, which changes the whole San Diego dynamic because their lineup was a weakness. It really was. They were missing Tatis bad. Drury had slowed down. Bell had slowed down. Grisham had never heated up. Josh Hader in the back end didn't really get used a lot. I'm trying to think who I believe in more, Seattle or San Diego. I believe in Seattle more, which I'm surprised about. But going through that Padres wild card, East Coast, West Coast, getting used up, and who the Dodgers are, I mean, this first round just feels like firm handshakes for them. Like, this is what we are built for. Kershaw, Urias, Anderson, and Gonsolin floating around. That lineup is just so deep and constant. I wouldn't want to be Mike Clevenger in game 1. I'll tell you that much. Like I said before, it is lining up for Dodgers, Braves. It is lining up for Houston and the Yankees. This sounds dumb. I'm very much rooting for that. I think they are the 4 best teams in baseball. Baseball rarely works out that way. And probably next week on Wake and Jake, I'll be telling you it didn't go that way, and that'll be fine. Whether it is the Guardians or the Mariners or the Padres or the Phillies, because we love a good playoff run. That's what it's all about. You got to believe in that in sports. I don't know. This year feels a little different. I think the elite teams have been elite almost all year. Like Braves got off to a little bit of a slow start. Yankees had their bad month. Otherwise, these teams have been factories. Braves won the World Series. Started kind of slow, not even. Mets just got off to a better start. Caught them, ate them up, stacked. Dodgers, one of the best regular seasons we've ever seen. Gone to the World Series half of the last 6 years or something like that. Stacked. Houston. ALCS has gone through Houston the last 6 years. Stacked. New York Yankees. Feels like they're the one almost caveat, but they're the New York Yankees. Their rotation is better than it's been going into a playoff series. Their lineup, they have a guy who just had the best offensive season ever, and they probably are playing, I don't want to say the weakest team left in the playoffs because that feels like smack talk, but the Guardians are very young. It's very new to them.
The least expectations coming into the year.
Maybe they use that as a strength. Maybe Tito and the boys come out with their hair on fire. I don't know. This year, more than ever, it feels like those top 4 teams are going to be there. I'm flip-flopping from what I said before. If I had to pick one of the underdogs, I'd go San Diego. And I kind of hate it. But I love their pitching, and they just need a little bit from their lineup. Soto and Machado, man. Never mind if a Bell or a Grisham or whoever else chips in. Soto and Machado every 2 innings or so. That's tough. That's tough. Bakers, you guys are the best. Last time we hopped on right after Judge hit his 62nd home run. So that was pretty cool. One of the bigger eps in a while. Thank you guys. A lot of nice words, a lot of confusing words. Mike J said if Jake ever has to leave JM, he stays in our life somehow. Never stop talking sports, my man. I think we're good. I'm pretty invested in this bad boy. So we'll be here. But there was some nice words under that. Which I now realizing I'm not going to read because that would just be patting myself on the back. Let's see. I was there live. I also got it on video live talking about the home run. Casey Fenske. Awesome night. Yeah, that's forever. And know what I do love? Talking about Judge having the best offensive season ever. And what does it mean? And, you know, the OPS plus and the only guys season who's even rival him are named Ruth and Williams. My guy Metaphoria chimed in and said, league average was 280 when Ruth hit 60 homers and batted 360. Nice, man. Is Babe Ruth your grandpa? What was that? Why does that get you so excited? Babe Ruth was awesome. I don't want to take away from the Babe, but he also faced the same starting pitcher like every game for 4 at-bats instead of 2 at-bats and then a guy that throws 100 out of the bullpen. So there's different scopes here.
Just different expectations.
I'm super happy for Babe Ruth and your love for the Babe. People love this episode. I mean, the timing was perfect of it. So thank you guys so much. Keep baking the algorithm. Up to 719 subs. Pretty cool. And a ton of views last time. So for now, go check out everything on John Boy Media. We're doing deep dives on each DS series on Talking Baseball. We're live streaming the Yankees game tomorrow. Yankees Guardians with Chris Rose. Farm to Fame, Pinstripe Strong, Shea Station. If you're trying to get in your feelings a little bit. I don't know.
See who Chris Rose is previewing the playoffs with?
Who'd Chris Rose preview the playoffs with?
Austin Riley.
Oh, that's right. Young Thick. Young,
It's
thick,
coming later today at the time we're recording.
young, thick, and old thick. Talking Giants. I mean, if there's ever a time to tune in, go check out those boys. John Boy, Jake TV. GeoGuessr got guys. I think we got some funny business. Everything on John Boy Media. Pinstripe Strange. Talking Yanks. Huge week, people. We'll see you back Wednesday. We'll see what has changed and what we know by then. Exciting stuff. Thank you. Bake it. Love.